Guys, how's it going? Welcome back to another video. So guys, in today's video we're going to be unboxing the Shroud G303 from Logitech. So as you guys can see over here, this is the packaging. This mouse was actually collaborated and designed with Shroud specifically to match his specifications and for people that use claw grip. So here's a bit of the features that the mouse has over here as well. So this mouse is 75 grams. It is a wireless mouse which has a battery life of about 140 hours, which is really nice. These are the physical specifications. There we go. Now let's get right into the unboxing. So here we are. We're just gonna remove the packaging now. So all it is just plastic wraps, and once you remove that, you should be able to open up the box. So it just slides out like so. Here is the G303. So this is what's inside the box. There's nothing else. Just comes with the mouse. I'll put this aside for a second. So inside this actually comes with its own cable. So yeah, once you pull the inside of the box, then you have the cable. As you can see, it's USB Type-C, which is quite nice. Then we also have the little adapter. So yeah, you can just pull the adapter out, and this is right here. So this is usually what you can do. You can bring it onto your desk so that way you have the best connection possible, and keep the wireless dongle close to it so that you get the best latency. We also have a bit of paperwork. Here is the Logitech logo, and yeah, that is pretty much it. So basically what you really want to do is just have this plug into your computer, then take the adapter and then just connect it with the dongle like so, and there you go. That's basically it. So let's do a 360 of the mouse. So as you guys can see, underneath the mouse we have the PTFE virgin grade feet, which is really nice. As you can see here, when you have the mouse on, there's like a green light that shows up. At the front here, there's a Type-C port. I forgot to mention in the back as well, if you want, you can actually put in the dongle inside of here so that the mouse can hold the dongle when you're transporting it. And yeah, so the mouse itself is pretty good. I like the build quality. Something I noticed too is that when you get rid of the wire, because normally when you play with the wire, take this for example, this is my G403. I used to use this like I think about a year ago now. I haven't really used it much since I got the Viper 8K, but something I found that was all holding me back was the wire, because the wire, like, there's a way when you move your mouse, like you're limited to having to not to you can't, this wire like keeps your mouse in place, right? Because like let's say I had it in the mouse bungee, I can only move so far, right, before I have to start tugging on the mouse bungee. But when you have the wireless, obviously it's free range, and something I didn't really notice was a problem at all was the latency, because I have it like really close to the mouse, and what I noticed is it feels exactly the same as if I'm using a regular wired mouse. So if you're like me and you're skeptical about the change to switching to a wireless mouse because the latency is probably gonna be so bad, it's gonna be laggy. When you play on these Logitech mice that are wireless, especially like the really high-end Logitech G gaming ones like these, like I think the Super Light and the G Pro are pretty similar in terms of like dongle, like the way that they connect, like using the connection light speed. It's really good, and you honestly won't notice the change in latency. It's really not a big deal. That's something I was really skeptical about, but yeah, the battery is really good, and like the glide, the fact that like it's so big, like they have these mouse feet, and it just covers a huge surface of the mouse. It makes it so much easier to glide. Like now my mouse pad is pretty worn out, so it's not as smooth, but yeah, you can see like it doesn't really spin, but it's still pretty glidey because the way my mouse pad is pretty worn out now. But yeah, my mouse, like, no, these are just regular feet on the G403, but it doesn't glide much. But with these, like, it's much more easier, it's more smooth. And yeah, something I noticed about the side buttons now, this one up here is a little bit hard to reach, but for the most part, the mouse buttons are pretty decent. I can't really complain about them. Oh yeah, so now let's do a quick click test. I didn't do this for you guys yet. So there you guys go. Oh yeah, and something really cool also, if you go into the software, there's like this little device setting. So as you can see over here, battery level, you have the power consumption, which is pretty cool, approximately how long the max charge would be if you max out the charge. And yeah, you have onboard memory profiles. So let's say you ever wanted to, you know, switch the profiles, you can basically has its own built-in memory, which is really cool. And yeah, there's not too much like tinkering. Like in terms of like when I had the G Pro like headset, you can customize, you know, all like your audio and whatnot, like to the way you want it. Like, well, something I noticed, because when I had the Razer Viper 8K, like you could really fine tune the. I don't have my mouse plugged in, but there's a way that you could fine tune the sensor so that the lift off distance wouldn't be that bad. So something I noticed is that you lift it up a little bit and the sensor would still track a little bit, which isn't too terrible. Like it's a little bit off the ground, but it's still like tracking on here, but it's not too bad. But the Razer Viper 8K, when I used it, it didn't really track when you lift it up, which was something I really like because of the lift off distance. But I mean, yeah, it's not too bad. So for this mouse, and just like any other Logitech mouse, what you want to do is you want to download the Logitech G Hub. So I'm going to go ahead, download for Windows 10. Bottom left. Once it's done, open, click yes. Just thought I should mention also before while my G Hub is downloading, this cable that they give you, it's literally like, I believe, I'm not, without even measuring, it's like 2 meters long. So this is actually pretty good length. I mean, for me it's a little bit too long, but to be honest, the fact that you have such a long wire though is really nice. So yeah, this is not my gaming setup currently, but I'm just borrowing this PC in order to set my mouse up. So as you can see, the dongle is connected to the PC. So once you plug it in, all you have to do is just flip the switch. And there you go. As you can see, the mouse is working. So here we have Logitech G Hub. I'm currently installing it in the meantime. So it picked up my G303. So it is actually updating the receiver. So just give that a moment. So let's check out the Logitech G Hub software. So as you can see right here, we have the Logitech G303 Shroud, we have the G Pro headset that I'm using, and also we have my Logitech C922. So the best thing about the Logitech software is that you're able to see all your Logitech gear all into one software, which is really nice. So here we have the G303 Shroud. As you can see over here, 75% battery. If you take your mouse and you put it right over this little battery right here, you can see that the battery level is up to 117 hours remaining. So something I noticed is that this mouse, it does not die. Like, I charged this thing, I think maybe like 3 weeks now that I've had this mouse, that I've been using it, and honestly the mouse battery has been so good. Like, the fact that it still has 117 hours, and I think this is pretty accurate because, you know, this thing does not die. I've yet to charge it, so that's a really good thing. And it charges really fast. So now we go into the software. As you can see here, we have the sensitivity, so you can change your sensitivity to whatever you want. But to be honest, this thing goes up to 25,600 DPI, and I don't know who in their right mind would literally use this much DPI. I literally only use 800, but this thing is crazy fast. So yeah, I'm gonna switch this back down. 800 DPI is usually what I do when I play FPS games, or 1600. Either one of the two is pretty good. Here we have the polling rate. They also call it the report rate, but in technical terms, it's the polling rate. So here we have up to 1,000, from 125 to 1,000. Usually you want to set that to the highest, so that way your mouse reports it. Basically, 1,000 is basically 1 millisecond reporting rate. Then we have the assignments. So here basically it's just like setting up different macros or like keys. So here if you want to make a macro, let's call it test. Right, click enter. You can, there's different type of macros, so like no repeat, repeat while holding, toggle, or sequence. So let's do repeat while holding, and let's say we want to start now. We can record keystrokes, so let's do right click, left click, and middle mouse button, right? And maybe we'll just do, oh yeah, I have it set as control copy for some reason. But yeah, here we go. So yeah, we click stop recording and then repeat while holding and click save. So now you can, if you want, you can bind it to your middle mouse button, test, and there you go. Now you have a macro. It's kind of like freaking out because this is a really messed up macro, but you guys get the point, I hope. So here we have like different system. So this is really cool. You can also, you know, do like double click, scroll left, scroll right, DPI shift, copy paste, like all this stuff is really cool. But for me, the most part, something I'd probably really use would probably be either probably next track or like play or pause, because when I play like Spotify music and whatnot, like I like to play my music, so that usually is what I would do. So here I have the mouse plugged in using the USB Type-C, and now it picks it up on the software. So I'm actually going to install the update. So it's actually really cool, the fact that you can update your mouse. I don't believe that they're going to have constant updates like a, you know, like a phone or something, but the fact that you can update your mouse, that's something that's really new to me, and honestly it's pretty cool. So now here's the final question, would I recommend this mouse? Now, if you're just a regular user, you don't play claw, you probably play like palm grip or, you know, all the different ways of holding a mouse, I probably wouldn't recommend this one, because I think this is mainly built, because I think Shroud also plays claw grip, and for me, I found that like when I'm holding it, like my pinky like rests really nicely on this side over here, like at this little corner. The hump isn't too bad. Like this, the G403, the hump is pretty big on the back. You can kind of see, right? But it's not too bad, and the way that this mouse has been designed, like the way that I claw, like it fits perfectly. Like it's like an angle, it's like different angles. One angle here is like a diamond shape, another angle here, there's one angle here, one angle here. So the way that I hold my mouse like this, I grip it, it fits, like for me it fits perfectly because of the way that my hand is shaped and the way that I hold my mouse. Thing I want to mention, guys, last thing for build quality, when you shake the mouse, there's no rattle, and that's something I really like about it. The only other thing I would really complain about would be the scroll wheel, because like the G403, they use rubber sides, and as you can see, mine is really shiny, and this has to do with constant usage, and over time, of course, you know, it gets worn out pretty easily. But yeah, that's the only thing I can complain about, because the scroll wheel on here, as you can see, is textured, and I like this because it makes it easier to, you know, to scroll. On here, there is basically no texture, it's just plain rubber. It's like a smooth surface. But yeah, other than that, yeah. The mouse so far is pretty good. It's got an on and off switch as well. So, yeah, off, on. And you can see it's got a green light to show that turned on. So yeah, and also when you leave the mouse, you don't even have to worry about turning it off, because when you leave the mouse inactive for maybe about a minute or so, then if you look on the G-Hub software later on, it's going to tell you inactive. So yeah, it's pretty good. Right before we end off, let's ask the budgie if he approves. Do you approve of this mouse, sir? Do you approve? I think he approves. Alright guys, thank you guys all for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed. So I'm actually just going to do a little bit of a mouse test at the end of this video, so feel free to watch and click off whenever you're ready. See you guys later. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys. Peace.
I'm out of here.
Can't go there.
One enemy remaining.
They can cast.
Still just human.
Oh my god.
Enemy spotted.
The hunt begins. Cover going out. Shadows traveling. Blinding. Flashbang. Let's play. 3 killed. Time to watch them run.
One enemy remaining.